I've been working full time. Oh, I've been grinding full time. I've been running full time, full time, full time. I've been chasing music full time. Been disappointed full time, but I kept it going full time, full time, full time. Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of The Strategy is Her. I'm your host, Satara Brown, and every week I'm taking you behind the scenes of what it really takes to bet on yourself. So I am 3 days into being a full-time entrepreneur, and it has been a roller coaster already. I started my week with going to the bridge naming of a senator who I used to work for. And when I say God's timing is divine, God's timing is so divine. Prior to me going to Mount Vernon and driving down there to see the senator, well, actually the governor named the bridge after Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson, who I interned for 13 years ago when I was in college, and she was a state senator. And I saw on Facebook that this was happening. So when I saw it, I was like, I'm in. But before I went down there, I was like, what in the world am I doing? Like, I woke up this morning and I don't have to go to work. And it was just such an unreal feeling. But everything went well, and it was a perfect day for it to be my first day as a full-time entrepreneur. Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson is a woman who has many careers and has helped so many people, and she's actually the first woman role model that I've ever had. So, as many of you already know or will grow to know, my mom was always my everything. But my mom gave up her career to be a mom. And so growing up, I didn't see like the business side of my mom or the entrepreneurship in her. I just saw her as my mom because she literally devoted her whole entire life to her kids. And so when I was 19, I think, and I met Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson, I was just like, oh my God, like she's just everything. And then when I got to learn more about her and I got to work for her, she was a nurse and like she led a hospital. She has done so many great things. She has like a housing community named after her. Now she has a bridge. She has gone on to work for the governor's office. She is just such a dynamic woman. And I'm so blessed that was my first like real experience as a college student in the professional world. And it really stuck with me. And here I am 13 years later, still in connection with her. So that was a really good starting point for my entrepreneurship journey, because after all that she's accomplished, she just started a business like a couple years ago as a consulting business. And it's just like a full circle moment for me, because I think I was having like imposter syndrome, like I'm really not going to go to work. I'm really not going to get my paycheck. And although I planned for this, and it wasn't just like a freak move or anything like that, I just still can't believe that this is what I'm actually doing. And it's what I always wanted to do. And I know I mentioned a few episodes before this, my cousin was like, so are you telling the girls to quit your job? No, don't quit your job. But for me, it really exhibits freedom. And everyone asks me, like, what's your goal? Like, what are you chasing? And I'm like, I'm not chasing anything. I just want freedom. And everyone's like, now you have it. And they were saying this before I actually quit. But I didn't have it until this week. And again, it's been a roller coaster of feelings, because I have no option but to be successful. Like, there's no failing involved. There's nothing. Everything has to go right. And that even means if things go wrong, I'm going to have to learn through it so that things go right, because I don't have any other option. I don't have my mom to lean back on. I have to pay my rent. I have to pay my bills. And when it goes back to speaking about God's divine timing, I've connected with a business owner, and we actually started working on a couple projects together, and we wanted to work together for like over 5 years now, and the timing was just never right. And we connected a couple months ago or sometime last year, but we started working together. We were in conversations for the last couple months, and we actually like did an event recently, and it was super successful, and we're like, oh my God, we're really doing this. And I'm like, you caught me at the best time, because I'm literally quitting my job and I have some extra time on my hands. And I say all that to say that the way that everything is unfolding for me, no, I don't have it all figured out. I'm not going to get a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, but I put systems in place before I just went and quit my job to set myself up for success. And although things are unsteady right now, and I have a few clients for my consulting business, I have a couple of events coming up. I've never felt so good. And I don't want to say that I wish that I've done this sooner, because I believe in God's timing. And maybe if I've done this sooner, maybe when my mom was alive and I had like something to fall back on, maybe I wouldn't appreciate it as much. But like now, like I have an event to go to tomorrow where I'm going to be a vendor. So it's like, I got to sell this merch. And then 2 days later, there's another event that's going on. And then the day after, I have an event. So it's like, the moves that I'm making now, I have to be very strategic. And like I said, I have to win. Like I was telling my team, like at my event on Sunday, we got to sell out. Like, should we bring out the vest? Like, what merch do we have to pull out? We have to make some money. And, well, everything isn't about money, but this is how I'm surviving now. So like the stakes are very, very different. And it feels good to finally bet on myself. I made the decision to quit my job without consulting with my friends, without consulting with my family members or my father. And I did this before. I did the same move. Like I quit my job without speaking to anyone else about it, because I wanted it to be a decision for me. And this was a different time. It was when my mom was sick, and I felt like I had to choose between going to work or taking care of her, and I chose to take care of her. And after I quit my job that first time, everyone was like, what are you going to do? How are you going to feed yourself? Like, you're crazy. You had such a good job. And I'm like, what is a good job? Like, my mom is a good mom, and I'm going to do whatever I can to take care of her. I'm going to figure everything else out. And I figured it out that time, and I'm going to figure it out again. And even right now, like, I think like 2 of my friends know that I quit my job, and everyone else, like, it's just like, it is what it is. I don't want to hear anyone's opinions about like, how are you going to survive, or like, what are your plans? Because my answer is, I'm going to do yoga and sell sweatshirts. And that's literally what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some consulting on the side, but that's what my plans are. And that's what makes me happy. I realized that since I've been commuting back and forth to New York City for work, my health has declined. Like, I have been super lethargic. I just got like blood work done, and it's like I'm deficient in iron and all these other things, which I was focusing on my health prior to commuting back and forth to New York City, and it's just like, it's not worth it. So there was no reason anyone can give me that now wasn't the time. And like, my health depends on it. I've been sleeping a lot like these last couple days, and I'm like, am I depressed, or am I just overly tired? And I believe I'm overly tired, and it's because I was just putting so much wear and tear on my body going to New York City, literally waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting home at 7:30 p.m., sometimes 8 p.m. if there's traffic or an accident. And it's just not worth the risk. And thinking about entrepreneurship, I'm like, if I literally can be gone for like 16 hours out of the day to go work for not a lot of money. At my last job, I took a $12 per hour pay cut, and everyone was trying to tell me how much of a good job I had. And I'm like, what is a good job? Like, the people are nice, like that I get a paycheck. Like my paycheck was so much smaller than the last 2 jobs I had where I literally got to work from home. So I don't really believe in good jobs. And as I mentioned before, my dad, he worked for a corporate company. And I think after 32 years or 33 years, he got laid off. And like they gave him a severance package of like a couple $1,000s, like not even $5,000. And from that very moment, I'm like, there's no way I can be loyal to any company, no matter how quote unquote good of a job it is. So I am here stepping into full entrepreneurship, and I'm feeling all of the feels. I'm trusting God, and they say if you fully trust God, you can't worry. Like you can't do both. So I'm not going to say that I'm worried. I can say that I'm rolling with the punches. Like my nephews, they're like asking me to buy toys. I'm like, you know how much a toy costs? We need to sell 3 of these mugs in order for you to get a toy. I think at this point in time in my life, I'm very conscious of my spending habits, what's important, what's not important. I used to be the vacation queen. Like I would work hard for 3 months and then I would go on a vacation. Like a vacation was always to celebrate something. And right now I'm in this season where I don't want to have to take a vacation from my life. I want my life to feel like a vacation all the time. And what does that look like to me? That looks like slow mornings, like waking up and going to yoga. A slow morning for me is waking up at 7 a.m. instead of waking up at 5. But it's starting my day with going to the gym, making a good breakfast, and then getting some work done. Or maybe, I'm going to wake up at 6 o'clock one morning and just work for 10 hours. But then in my day, going to yoga. And I didn't have that opportunity when I was working in Manhattan. And I really had to ask myself, like, what am I doing? Like, what's my purpose? And I thought that I was fulfilling a purpose by working at a cancer center because, one, I didn't apply to the job. Someone sent me the job. And I thought that because my mom was a patient there, like that was a connection, and that was my connection to help others who are going through cancer treatment. But I recently got a new therapist, and she was like, that was probably way too soon. And it was too close to home for me to even be in that kind of field of work. And although like I worked in the corporate office, I worked closely with I worked in the nursing department. So like there was nurses and nurse practitioners like literally sitting next to me, and like hearing their conversations and stuff, I feel like not that it was desensitizing me from hearing people's struggles with cancer, but I think my therapist is right. Like it was way too soon for me to be in that kind of environment. And with that being said, I always thought that like I was gonna work with one of the hospitals that my mom was a patient at. But instead I created a new business called the Balance Suite, and every Sunday we've been doing free yoga in the park. And I think for me that's a better lane in the sense of helping people. Someone that I was having a conversation with the other day was like, you don't need to go to the gym. Like, you're already in shape. And I'm like, it's not about being in shape. It's about being healthy. And with the Balance Suite and Yoga in the Park, it's focusing on healing and wellness and taking care of yourself before you get the call that you're sick. So I think that in my time, I guess discovering what I actually want to do, I found it through going to the job. So I'm appreciative for the job, and I'm grateful for the job. But I think it's important that we know when it's time to move forward, and it's time to let things go. And I felt like if I stayed at my job any longer, like, why am I even, like, what purpose am I serving? And, like, what kind of justice am I doing for the job? Because it's not fulfilling me. And to speak about God's timing again, for the last 3 years, I've been working through a temp agency. So I got a job at a hospital, and it was like one of the top hospitals in New York City, in their corporate office in HR. And I ended up resigning from that job after 10 months to take care of my mom. But it was a temporary job. They were trying to get me a permanent position. But again, it was a temporary job. And I'm mentioning that because every time I left a job in the last couple of years, they were all temporary positions. So then the next job that I went to after my mom passed away was another temporary job in human resources at a different hospital in New York City. And I stayed there for like 4 months, but I ended up going on leave because I was not well. Like I started the job 3 months after my mom died. No, 2 months after my mom died. Everyone's like, you got to get back to work. You got to get back to work. Like, go back to work. And I mean, I had to take care of myself, so I guess I didn't have a choice but to go back to work. And I didn't even know what was going on. Like, I had no idea what was going on. I just showed up every day, and to the point where I was like, I can't come in anymore, and I got to work from home. And then I went on leave, and when I tried to go back from leave, they told me that they don't have the position anymore. Like I couldn't come back. Actually, they didn't even say they didn't have the position anymore. They just said like I couldn't come back. And I was just said, okay. Like I didn't even ask why or anything, because I just knew that like it was time to move on from there. Like that helped me financially. I was able to get my apartment. I was able to, move back upstate. And that was the only purpose for that. And it was another temporary job. So now this job that I just resigned from, the recruiter that was working with me for the last 2.5 years, she sent me the job. And I said to myself, this is going to be the last job I'm taking through this agency. Like, this is going to be my career. Like, I didn't even ask the lady about the job. She just sent it to me. I ended up getting it. So, like, 2 days before I started the job, the recruiter is like, hey, I'm not working with the agency anymore. I just wanted to let you know, all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. Like, she was so good to me. Like, this is a sign. Like, I'm not going to be working with this agency anymore. Like, I'm not going to be looking for any more jobs. This is it. And at that time, back in February, I didn't know that this is it meant that I was going to be an entrepreneur full time. I thought that, like, this is it. I'm in my career. I'm going to stay here forever. And so now here we are, like, 7 months later. And it all makes sense. Like, the recruiter that I was working with, she had my back. She, like, when I went out on leave, like, I don't know what she did, but she allowed it so I could be on leave for an extended time. She really held me down, and, like, she was with me through my mom being sick to my mom dying. Even when I contacted her after my mom died, like, she found me a job ASAP. Like, I was trying to apply for jobs, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Why aren't I getting any jobs? I applied to, like, a whole bunch of jobs, and I, like, had some interviews, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hit my girl up. And I hit her up, and I got a job, like, right away. And it's not crazy. But what happened was I had unemployment when my mom was sick, and my unemployment was running up. And the last week of my unemployment was the, like, week that I started my job. So I didn't miss any pay. Like, I continued to be getting a check weekly. And with her leaving the company, like, I honestly didn't think that it meant, like, you're going to be leaving the workforce and you're just going to be an entrepreneur. Not just be, but you're going to be an entrepreneur. And I've been seeking a lot of clarity over the last couple of months, and I fasted all summer. I fasted for 2 months. 12 hours a day. And I was like, nope, I'm going to keep fasting until my last day of work. I'm going to keep fasting. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll stop. And I was like, nope, I got to do what God is telling me to do. And it just all makes so much sense now. My last day of work, I got back in the gym. Like, I'm working out. I'm making my smoothies. I went to the grocery store. Like, I haven't grocery shopped in like 2 months because I was just so fatigued and tired from work. And I guess my message for this episode is listen to your body. Take time to really hone in on what's important to you, what your goals are, and what you want to achieve. I have had so many achievements in life. Like, when I was in middle school, they were like, if we had a valedictorian, it would be you. And then, like, I graduated high school early and college early, and like, my mom was so proud. And I think that my whole life, like, I was doing things to make my dad proud. And I don't think I've ever heard him say, congratulations, or I'm proud of you. And in this time that I took to fast, to really, get in tune with what I want in my life for myself, I've had to start to slowly unlearn all of the things that I felt like I had to do to please my dad. I would say parents, but really my dad, because my mom, she supported everything that I did. And my dad, he's always been supportive too, but it was just like, oh, that's not good enough. Or, oh, what, like the standard, like my mom, anything that I did, she would jump on. My dad, he might say, well, why don't you do this? And then afterwards clap. But I had to learn that, like, everyone has their own choices to make in life. And life is going to look different for every single person. And like, when I told my friend, when she's like, okay, you're quitting your job, what's next? I'm like, yoga. Like, I really meant that. And she comes to yoga in the park on Sundays, and it's really become a thing. And with the Balance Suite that will be opening really soon, I'm just grateful that I've been able to clear my mind and keep a strong head while I'm making these transitions. And I'm also grateful for the people that are in my circle and that I keep around. You really have to watch the company that you keep. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So I'm just grateful for women like Senator Hassel Thompson, and for, all of these great businesses that I get to work with, because they are allowing me to see more than what I've seen in my immediate family and my immediate surroundings. So I guess my takeaway for today is take that time to do a deep dive and stop allowing the pressures of others, of your family members, of your friends, of society, social media, to dictate and determine how your life looks. See you next week on another episode. Thank you for tuning in.